Hello fellow cinephiles, Film Guru here. Today I'm reviewing Dolittle. This was directed by Stephen Gaghan and stars Robert Downey Jr., Antonio Banderas, Michael Sheen and Jim Broadbent. The film is really a reimagining of the classic tale of the man who could talk to animals. It really focuses on how Dolittle has become a recluse after losing his wife 7 years ago. He's become a hermit. He hides himself away behind the walls of Dolittle Manor with only his variety of exotic animals for company. What brings this hermit out of his hideaway is two young children. And what brings him back to life is ultimately a quest he has to go on to save the life of young Queen, Jessie Buckley, who's fallen gravely ill. He reluctantly sets sail on an epic adventure to a mythical island in search of a cure, regaining his wit and courage as he crosses old adversaries and discovers wondrous creatures. This film was not as bad as everybody's making out, in my opinion. Was it brilliant, fantastic? No, but it was a solid movie. I got a lot out of this. I thought it's really aimed at children, and I think it captures that quite well. I think it's unfair of reviewers and critics and that to come out and bash a film so severely. It affects the film goer's experience. And I think this has got a lot of bad press. Seeing the number of people who went and saw this in the cinema I was in, there's about 10 of us. It's kind of sad like a movie like this is getting so severely attacked. I think it's light and fun. There's some silly elements to it. There's elements that could have been done better and visual effects could have been worked on a bit more, I guess. But ultimately as a story, I liked it. I think it was a basic story. It starts with sort of a bit of an animation to show Dolittle and his wife and what happened previous before we meet him as a hermit in the Dolittle Manor. I like the way that he understands the animals and we can understand them, but only at certain points in the film. I thought that was very clever. I thought Downey was really great, eccentric and over the top. He really played his character in a unique way. His costume was very different when we first meet him. He has a long beard and long hair and he looks scruffy and sort of like a hermit, I guess. And it's about how the animals, fix him up and ultimately help him out. And I like that. I like the quest element. I like that he has to go on a journey to save the life of this young queen that there's an elaborate plot against. And I really like that. It really understood the sense of adventure for me. And I got swept up in it. And I just had a really good time with it. I think Antonio Banderas is solid here. He appears as a sort of a villain, sort of pirate, shady character. And I liked his performance here. It was very small and a simple role, but he did really well with it. And Michael Sheen's really good in it as well. He's just that classic villain, the one that twirls his moustache. And ultimately is Dolittle's adversary, and I like that. I thought it was well done. I thought the kids did a solid job here. Both the young actors are really good. I liked all the voice work with the particular actors they had playing particular characters. The film really picks up when they go on this journey on this ship, and they're trying to find this hidden tree that no one knows where it is, and it felt a lot like Pirates of the Caribbean in many ways. And I feel that I would have liked to see more of these movies. I don't think we'll ever get any more, but it sort of begins an interesting, adventurous type of films. We could really have a trilogy of these films that could be really interesting, but because of the reception it received, I don't think we're going to get that, unfortunately. I went in with no expectations and no thoughts in my head of what the film was going to be like. I had in the back of my mind that people were talking about how bad it was. But I enjoyed my experience with it. I can't deny that. I really like when they get to the particular island to find the tree and there's a dragon there. I really like that. There is a joke with the dragon that I don't know if it really works and if it really needed, and the choice is there. Everybody knows the joke I'm talking about, but I just don't know if that really worked. So I like that we've got a young boy who really wants to become like Dolittle, and he wants to become his apprentice, and he goes on the journey with him. And this experience and this quest that they both go on and how they bond together and how Dolittle accepts him in many ways to become his friend and sort of his assistant. And I like that as well. There are elements here. We don't quite know why the Queen is. We know what's happening to her, but we don't really clearly see the motivations of why the people behind what's happening to her. And I thought that was a bit thin. I thought the backstory with the young boy was a bit thin as well. We didn't get a lot of depth with him. He did have moments to shine within the movie and when he starts to understand the animals like Dolittle does, which is really great. But yeah, there's not a lot to him that they could have went into a bit more depth in many ways. I thought a lot of the visual effects didn't quite work either. They could have spent a bit more time, but they work well enough that we understand the characters and, you know, what the animals, who the animals are, and what led them to be part of Dolittle's expeditions. So there was many characters in this that are a bit over the top, and there wasn't a lot of depth to particular characters that we could have known a lot more about. Like the young queen, we don't know a lot about. The young girl who comes to find Dolittle to help the young queen, we don't know much about her either. But it's something that could have been expanded on in another film. But overall, I enjoyed it. It was fun, entertaining. It was one hell of a ride. I like quest and journey movies. I like that it wasn't just about him trying to find something to help the queen. It was about his journey. It was about him coming to terms with the death of his wife and to go through grief in a different way and fulfill something that she began and bring it to a close, to give him closure as well, and to accept things once more, and to open the doors of the Dolittle Manor and help the animals once more. That was probably some of the best parts. It's got a good heart, good message, and a lot to it I enjoy. Final thoughts. At the heart of it for me, it really looks at the idea of things happen to us sometimes and we can't make sense of them at the time, and it can cause this huge effect on us that we can close off and close ourselves off to the world. Then there's people who care for us, and they can appear and they can give you kind words and help you open the doors once again and sort of bring yourself back out into the light. And that sometimes, even though things are difficult, we can find our way through. And the important thing in life is to help others. By helping others, it helps us to understand ourselves. And that's a message within the film. But it's really about coming to terms with things, accepting who you are, and moving forward, getting through the grief, getting through the difficult times, and moving into a better place in life. And I think that's really what this film's trying to say. I'm going to give Dolittle 3.5 out of 5. I thought it was a solid, entertaining film, one hell of a ride. I enjoyed my experience with it. It had issues, but overall it was a solid film. Anyway, that's all from me today. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please hit subscribe down the bottom. Follow me on Facebook or Twitter. Otherwise, until next time, enjoy the movies.